Hi, welcome to my channel, Rowie Kiwi. Today's video is a little bit different than some of the videos I've uploaded before because it is a digital art piece. On top of it being a digital art piece instead of traditional, it's also about a year old. This is the third ever drawing I ever did in Procreate on my iPad. I was still figuring out how to use the program, and I was still getting used to drawing on the iPad itself. So you'll see me play around a whole lot with some of the lines I'm doing, and definitely with the colors throughout this drawing. So let's talk about it. I drew this on an iPad 6th generation, not a Pro, just a standard iPad. It's only got, I think, 32 gigabytes of storage, and I used a Logitech stylus. It's a Bluetooth one, but it's not an Apple Pencil, so it does not have pressure sensitivity. This proved to be a little bit of a challenge since on some of the lines, especially like in the hair, I wanted a bit of a taper, but without the pressure sensitivity, trying to get a taper on the line was definitely a little more cumbersome. I had to go back in with the eraser tool and kind of erase in some of the points. This is especially noticeable like when I'm doing the eyeliner on the eyes. I went back in with the eraser and sharpened the points on the eyelashes to make them look a bit sharper. So things like that made this drawing take an extremely long time to do. I'm not even sure how long it would have taken total. I did it over a few days and I kind of just picked away at it while learning the program. You'll notice that I am actually doing the line art by tracing over a traditional sketch that I did. I did it this way because I found trying to actively sketch on the iPad was really hard for me. So I learned very early on that taking a picture of a traditional piece of art and bringing it into Procreate and then drawing my digital line art over that was just much easier and much more preferred by me. I think one of the biggest reasons this is because my iPad has a glass screen protector on it. It is so slippery when trying to use the stylus with it, which is just so different than doing traditional artwork. There's a lot of like grit to paper usually. Everything has some resistance when trying to draw with it. It's just a different experience altogether. At this point in the video, I'm now working on coloring in the line art, and you will notice I am doing this the difficult way, and that would be because I had not figured out how to color drop yet in Procreate. It was just like not something I had figured out how to do. I had tried looking up how to do like a color bucket for Procreate and hadn't found what I was looking for because they call it color drop in Procreate. So yes, I did scribble in all the color by hand and it took forever. I honestly didn't even figure out how to color drop until recently, but I'll put that to just not doing a lot of digital art. After this drawing, I really didn't do very much outside of just line art in Procreate for quite a while because I prefer doing traditional art. I like doing a little bit of digital art here and there, but it's just not my preferred method. I guess I should talk a little bit about the drawing itself. As the title says, I am drawing myself as a Pokemon trainer. I chose to draw Growlithe as my Pokemon companion. That's because Growlithe is my favorite Pokemon and has been my favorite Pokemon for as long as I can remember. So he seemed like a good fit for my Pokemon trainer self. I also almost always main fire-type Pokemon in Pokemon when I play, so that made Growlithe even better for my Pokemon trainer self. If you were a Pokemon trainer, who would your companion Pokemon be, and why? I always think it's super interesting to see what other people's favorite Pokemon are, and the reasons why they are their favorite. Sometimes it's because the Pokemon looks really silly or because they look really cool, or sometimes it's just because the Pokemon itself is just so overpowered in the game that it just defeats everything. For me, it's a little bit of a mix between the Pokemon being cool or cute looking and having decent enough stats that I can use it as a main Pokemon and it not die immediately, even without type matching. So back to the drawing. You'll notice that I definitely struggled a whole lot with coloring in the skin. This mostly comes down to not knowing how to blend colors in Procreate at this point in time and not really understanding how a lot of the layer types worked. So it just made it kind of difficult for me to color in the skin how I wanted it to look. And in the end, it looked kind of weird and not quite what I wanted anyway. And that was okay. I still really liked how it came out, even with the imperfections. I know at this point it's really hard to tell what I am doing in this drawing. This mostly is because I was working pretty zoomed in, and this video is pulled from the time-lapse video that Procreate does in-app. So it only shows you this one view and it doesn't show you the strokes from start to finish. It only shows you the stroke once it's done. Because it takes like a bunch of pictures and stitches them together with each stroke to make the time-lapse video that it gives you when you're finished with the drawing. But I was working on trying to add highlights to the skin, I believe, and also trying to work out a shade color for the skin. It's not very obvious because I was obviously using a color that was too close and just not really adding any impact or emphasis to what I was working on. At this point, I start messing around with the background color. I think it's because I was drawing at night and it was dark in the room, so the white background was hurting my eyes. I ended up keeping the background this color the rest of the drawing and only changed it when I added the actual background in. I also apparently noticed that I forgot some of the details on the shoes and had to drop the sketch back in so that I could line up the patterns. I guess I can talk a little bit about the color scheme I went with. I decided that because my Pokemon I chose as a companion was a fire type Pokemon, that maybe my trainer does just fire type Pokemon and she should dress like she does. So it's red and black. Red is obviously because of the fire. I didn't want to do orange because it was a little too much orange with Growlithe there. Also, the necklace, which is kind of hard to see from here, has a flame charm on it to represent her preferred Pokemon type. I do say her a lot, but it is me. I'm supposed to be me as a Pokemon trainer, and the outfit is pretty accurate to something I would wear in the summertime, minus the thigh-high socks. I just thought that the legs were a little bare, so they needed something on them. I also kind of tried to stylize it a little bit after Pokemon Sword and Shield. When I did this drawing, it was not too long after I had finished playing it through for the first time. Last year, I got a Nintendo Switch Lite, and I was able to get Pokemon Sword and Shield, so of course the first thing I did after I finished the playthrough was want to draw myself as a Pokemon trainer. One of my favorite aspects of Pokemon Sword and Shield is that after you get enough money in game, you can customize your character to basically look however you want. You get to change the clothes, you can change the hair, the makeup, all sorts of stuff. And I really thought that was super cool, and it inspired me a lot to make myself as a Pokemon trainer. I also gave my character a Ultra Ball as her Pokemon ball for Growlithe. In the Pokemon games I've played, the Ultra Ball tends to be the Pokemon ball that I use the most, so it just made sense. Here towards the end of the drawing, I do go back and fiddle around with the skin just a little bit more because I still wasn't satisfied with it. I'm pretty sure I'm trying to like add the highlights in a little bit better, and I also add in some more shading. It doesn't really make it look too much different, I don't think, and I don't think it helped particularly with anything. Honestly, I think it made the skin look a little bit muddier, if anything at all. Here I've made the background a little bit darker just to make sure that the skin is completely colored in along with anything else. By making the background darker, it was easier to tell if anything was missed. I also am adding in more shading to the clothing and stuff, and apparently messing around with colors a little bit more. So for the background of this drawing, which we're about to get into, I literally just took a screenshot from Pokemon Sword and Shield and dropped it into the background. I just cropped it and edited it to be a little more fitting for how I drew the character, and I also added in just a little bit of a drop shadow to make the character feel like they're actually there and not just floating around on the grass. But here's the completed drawing. I really hope that you enjoyed watching and that you stay tuned for the next one.